Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order our Wednesday, October 8th Planning Board meeting here at the Fuller Meadow School, 143 South Main Street. First on the agenda tonight, we have the approval of two separate minutes, so I'll entertain motions separately. First being for our September 2nd, 2025 joint meeting for the forum on 35 Village Road. And do we need minutes on that? Because I don't think that we had a quorum.
I thought that we did have a quorum.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking of the public hearing.
Yes, so we did have a quorum for that meeting, so it is the meeting minutes are kind of separated. The select board meeting minutes are separate, and then there's minutes just for the public portion.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, two separate approvals.
I'm thinking of the October meeting that we just had. Would anyone like to make a motion on our September 2nd minutes for the joint meeting with the ZBA and the Select Board?
I'll make a motion to accept the September 2nd, 2025 joint meeting with the ZBA.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Also, for our regularly held September 10th meeting, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I think because we have a quorum, Cheryl,
Yep.
we're not going to name you guys as voting members for tonight.
Yep.
So I think we would need a motion from a appointed board member.
Make a motion to approve the minutes on 9/10 as written.
Thank you, Shad. Do we have a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have two A&R plans, the first being for 7 Walnut Lane. The applicant is requesting to create 3 lots.
Good evening, members. Of the record, engineer Chris Sparagis from the Engineering and Survey Office of Williams and Sparagis. And with me here this evening, representing the ownership of 7 Walnut Lane, is the trustee of 4 Old Colony Realty Trust, Mr. Rocco Skippa. He's sitting here behind me. And I don't know if you have that plan that you can bring up on the screen. Anna, thank you. We've submitted a Form A application to take the existing property, which fronts on both Walnut Lane and Jordan Lane. You'll see the plan in a minute. If that doesn't work, I also have a hard copy.
All the board members have a copy of the plan.
I see it as well.
On there, yeah.
We have, in our packet, we have this one. We have the lot layout for the 3 lots being proposed.
Okay. I'll just wait for the screen to pop up here just for a second. I think we're going to need to figure this out for the next couple of items too, so.
Yeah, hold on, give me a second. I might have it on the wrong.
Okay.
You can keep going.
Yeah, if it's okay with you, I'll keep going. And I'll just refer to my plan here. So we are in the RA zoning district, so minimum lot area, 20,000 square feet, minimum lot frontage, 100 feet. And what we'd like to do is divide this property into 3 separate lots. Lots 1, 2, and 3 as shown on our plan. Lot 1 will have 124.75 feet of frontage on Walnut Lane, which is more than the requisite frontage with greater than 20,000 square feet. Lot 2, just over 23,000 square feet with lots of frontage on Walnut Lane and Jordan Lane. And then Lot 3, a larger lot, just over 47,000 square feet with much more than the requisite frontage required on Jordan Lane. That's the extent of my presentation for the Form A application, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is the lot width 125 feet, which is the required amount throughout the entire parcel?
Well, lot width is not, that's a zoning requirement.
Okay.
So that'll be determined when we, obviously, we're proposing to further develop this property with new buildings on each lot. You will probably also see Lot 3 come back before you at your next meeting, because we're going to be seeking a two-family permit. But to answer your question, yes, each of the lots have been shaped such that we have more than the required lot width. In this zoning district is the lot width through the house, which is one part of the zoning bylaw. It's 125 feet in the RA zoning district. And then the second part of the zoning bylaw, lot width, has to do with how much land you have between your frontage and the front of your house. You can't be less than 75% of the frontage. And clearly, we have much more than that. So all of these lots will be able to support new buildings when the time comes.
Go ahead.
Given that you plan to come back with a two-family for Lot 3, I assume the grade from Jordan Lane to Lot 3 is relatively level or can be made relatively level?
Yes. In fact, I didn't bring the topographic plan with me, but we've done a full topographic survey. In the existing condition, you can see the existing home in the center of the lot with its driveway access out to Walnut Street. We are at grade with Jordan Lane on this portion of that lot, so the answer is yes.
Anna, did we receive any feedback from any of the town departments?
Not on the A&R. The one thing I wanted to note for the board is, for these evaluations, we're typically looking for adequate frontage and safe accessibility onto a public way. In this case, I know it's actually a private way, but since it's been accepted already under the subdivision control law, that's essentially equivalent to a public way.
Okay.
I did have one question just about the existing driveway. I see that the house will be gone. Is the plan to move the driveway also, or will that stay?
So that driveway, I believe, just thinking about what we've been working on, we're going to try to save that curb cut. It may slide over just a little bit, but that's for this lot 2. That's approximately where we would expect the driveway to be. I think it's over a little bit further to the south, but it's in the same vicinity.
Any other questions from the board members?
I don't know. Seems pretty straightforward.
There are no other questions. I will entertain a motion to accept this as an approval not required plan under our subdivision control laws.
I'll make a motion to approve the A&R under subdivision control laws.
Do we have a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you folks in a position to endorse now, or you want to do it later on?
I can sign it now.
Welcome to sign the paper copy as well for you, or
That's okay. Yeah, they can just sign the Mylar. Yeah.
which sign should I start with?
Anywhere you want to start.
Probably just
Right
voting
here.
members, right? So.
Do you have Would you want to use that?
That is a
Oh,
special
wait, it is
pen,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
Did I get any on myself?
Sure.
problem. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have another request for an approval not required plan for Forest Street. The applicant's requesting to create 2 lots on land found on Middleton Assessor's Map 15, lots 83, 89, and 100.
Thank goodness the screen works, because I don't have a paper copy.
I brought one, Jill, too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just in case.
How good is Chris Baragis?
All you need here, plan holder.
He's my Vanna White. She's changed, hasn't she? Okay, so, good evening, Julianne here on behalf of Richardson Green here this evening, or Peter Paul, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You're on a couple
Yeah,
of
I'm doing it. Peter Paul and Chris Richardson. You can't see Paul, he's right behind Chris. So they own a property located off of Forest Street, it's right near Old Forest Street. It's a pretty large parcel, it's about 28, 29 acres. And it fronts Forest Street in 2 different locations, so it's kind of a wild horseshoe, right? I mean, I'd rather look here. So this is the parcel. So we're going to subdivide it. We're leaving the 28-acre parcel and then creating, about 1.5 acres close to it. Separate A&R parcel at the bottom. It has 210 feet of frontage, it has sufficient area, and that's about it. I mean, so we just want to be able to subdivide that off, and this is going to be kind of like a stepping stone into our next conversation about that flexible development, and I'll go into that in greater detail, but first I wanted to make sure that you saw that this is the plan that we're going to talk about with the flexible development. It's all 1B. 1A is going to be a separate buildable lot. So, if you have questions about that A&R, I can answer them, but we do meet, I mean, it's a fairly square lot, and it does meet all the setback requirements. While, yes, I agree, zoning doesn't impact an A&R, you have to just show area and frontage and access on a public way or a way accepted under subdivision control. But it does meet everything.
So is the plan to develop Lot 1A and then also have a road that goes to 1B from there?
I can explain why that is when we talk about the flexible development. In order to do the flexible development plan, I have to give to you a conventional plan that can be accepted under subdivision control. And typically, when we do those things, we look at them to be a plan without waiver. So in order to be a plan without waiver, I have to have an in and an out. So that's why we retain for 1B a sufficient area to create a road. Because we can't have the flexible development plan without that. So what we literally did was create this lot and the remaining parcel so that it would satisfy the flexible development requirements. That's why I had to go through all that with you, so I can really explain it, because you've never seen that before here.
But by creating that 1B lot that extends down all the way to Forest Street, does that then not have the width needed to?
So you don't need, no, because 1B also meets at the front here.
Okay,
So this is the frontage for 1B.
okay.
Yeah, good question, though. So you are right, because when you first look at it, you think, well, do I have to have it on both? Nope, this is just a tail piece, no impact. This is the one that governs the fact that Lot 1B remains a buildable lot because it has sufficient frontage and area.
Okay.
And this is R1B.
It's an R1B area.
Yep.
They can also, if they want to, they can come off Forest Street down there by Gates, and they can get in the backside and do a cul-de-sac if they wanted to.
Yeah, I had my screen too narrow. I wasn't even looking down by Gates. I was all the way to the left side there.
Yeah, if you look down, they can come up there if they want to, because of significant frontage. They can actually come into 1B and actually do,
Isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. You can actually, they could do another, pretty much another development if they wanted to.
Mhm.
thinking it was restricted off of the lot 1A? Is that what?
I was just looking, where that's so skinny between lot 1A and
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
To get the 165 for R1B.
Down by Gates.
165 is the
Yeah,
minimum
but no
lot width
frontage,
there.
they could put a road in, and they can actually do a
Yeah, so like
cul-de-sac.
that could completely
Yeah,
go away.
this
Got
this
it.
would go away, they would just come in here and just do a cul-de-sac.
That tail, quite honestly, will never be eroded.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll see why in the next plan.
Looks like there's flood in that area as well, right? Special flood hazard area
The
too.
entire,
that-
oh my gosh, when we get to that, we'll show you, yeah. It's not really a special flood area, it's a Zone A. I know Zone A means flood, but it also means a tributary to a reservoir. This is a tributary to the reservoir because it's up here. I don't know if you can see it on your plan, but up there.
You see the tributary behind it.
It's a watershed. Yeah, that's what, it's both. So that's the, we'll talk about that another thing. Because
Is the purpose of the site distance easement to maintain line of sight to Forest Street, were that to be an entrance exit? What is the intention?
this, again, this really, that's a carryover for, from the conventional plan. It shouldn't even be on this plan. So you see how you have the site distance easement?
Yeah, but, those things, and the temporary slope easement, in case it's needed,
So okay, so let me explain. So when you do the flexible development, you have to show a conventional plan. So when you show the conventional plan, you just want to demonstrate you have control, and that if there's something needed for putting this roadway in, you would have it. So when you see my conventional plan for the later approval, we actually would have to put the roadway in. In order to put the roadway in, we just need a temporary slope easement like you do in normal subdivisions. You always grant that temporary slope easement so you can come in and make it nice and even from the roadway transition to the lot. In addition to that, the site distance easement, a lot of times, Chris or the engineer will put that on to ensure that the homeowner doesn't put, a large tree at the corner of his property and then block the traffic coming out. So it's just a protection. But if the flexible plan is developed and not a conventional plan, these will go away and they will never be granted. So just showing them on the plan gives the owner the right to grant them, but it does not grant them. So when you see easements on a plan, unless you see specific language in a deed or in another document, granting that doesn't hold. Reference to a plan doesn't create any rights.
Anna or any board members, comments?
Pretty straightforward.
I'll entertain a motion to accept it as an approval not required.
I'll make a motion to file it as a, what again, I'm sorry?
Approved plan as approval not required under our subdivision control law.
As approval not required under our subdivision control law.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Now on to the meat of it. Now the next stuff is fun. I think it's the next, isn't it?
Yep.
So I'm excited about this because I think it's about time Middleton actually had somebody elect to use the flexible development bylaw, because every community around us does. North Reading just approved a 30-unit project. Andover constantly approves them. Rowley approved them. Linfield, everybody approves these open space residential subdivisions. Why they're so wonderful is because there's a forced affordable component, and Middleton has never had that. So all of these subdivisions we've had, you've never had a contribution to your inventory, ever. So this is the type of project that you want. The reason why nobody ever uses it is because it's poorly drafted, quite frankly, and that's why we're here, to kind of walk you through some of the provisions, explain some of the ambiguities, and see if we can resolve them. So in general, what's a flexible development bylaw? Flexible development bylaw means you're going to create a subdivision, but you're not going to comply with existing dimensional and area regulations of the normal bylaw. In addition, the subdivision control provisions, like your rules and regs. And that you either elect to do a definitive plan, so you have two options typically under an OSRD. You can do a site plan, where you don't even have a roadway, You just have a driveway, and it goes under a site plan approval, which you govern because it's under the flexible development. Or, can you put up that plan, the
The
How about the
conventional?
flex plan first, and then we'll go to the other one, so I
Sure.
can explain it better. So the Richardsons have a choice. They can elect to make this, whoops, every time I touch this, because if you
It's
touch
good.
it, you can make it bigger or smaller. So this road here, most likely we're going to elect to keep it as a driveway. We haven't made that decision yet, which means there's no obligations on the part of this community, Middleton, to have any obligations as far as stormwater, plowing, maintenance of a road. But then that means this would be approved as a site plan under the flexible zoning. And it can tell you your zoning says nothing about whether it's a definitive or not. It's completely silent. But what flexible development does is, am I in the way? It basically brings all the development together. So, for lack of a better term, cluster. Do you remember a long time ago? Trying to think who was here. I think only you, John. There once was a time we did a cluster, and it was up off of Mill Street. It was that Mill Street extension. We did a cluster zoning where they brought them forward and made tiny lots, and then the whole back was open space. But that cluster went away, and they replaced it with this flexible development bylaw. So again, what it does is it brings all the development inward. It creates the ability to do singles and multis. Now, in your bylaw, multis means 2 families and 3 family units, okay? And it has no regard to anything other than a setback to your neighbor. So you have to maintain, if this is deemed 1 lot, because we do site plan approval, then you just have to have a 100-foot buffer around the entire project, and that's it. That's what the requirement is. And then internally, you comply with the NFPA, whatever the National Fire Protection Code requires for distance between structures. The huge benefit in a flexible development is you don't own the road when they do it with site plan approval. That's huge. So you don't have the obligations to fix, repair, or plow. One of the other tremendous benefits is preservation of open space. This particular subdivision has 29 acres of land, and as you can see, more than half, far in excess of half, will be preserved permanently.
Jill, didn't they do this up off of East Street also on Weber's? They didn't do that?
No, nobody's ever done this.
Okay.
So it would have been nice.
I
if
thought
some-
that was cluster zoning.
Yeah,
up there.
nothing's been cluster.
Okay.
So, we come close every once in a while when we do those use variances, when we did the senior housing. So all the senior housing developments in town, Peachy Circle, Orchard, not Orchard, Peachy Circle, Peasley,
Massey Meadows.
Massey, and then, I don't remember, Blue Haven.
Yeah.
Blue Haven, they've all been done under a use variance, and the reason was it's impossible to do the flexible development. It's impossible. For certain properties, they've never been able to do it. This is the first time I literally have ever had a piece of land where we could actually do it, ever. That says a lot, because I've been here for a very long time. So, that's kind of an overall view of what flexible development is. So under this requirement, like I said, we're obligated to give you 15% affordable units, which is wonderful. And the big bonus is, I think that for the most part, we're considering holding them as rental, maybe doing them as sales. The Richardsons aren't sure right now. But the proposal is to have it as a condominium. And another tremendous benefit is to have one common septic system.
I was
It's
just gonna
called
ask that same
shared.
question.
There you go, Mr. Bernard. It's shared. So the benefits are the town can easily make sure that people are monitoring and handling their septic flow appropriately. The other tremendous benefit is you have a condominium association responsible for O&M for the stormwater management. Because as we all know, when the town has to do it, then all the town gets, the DPW will get, are comments about, oh, my drainage basin is full, it's dirty, it's this. You don't get any of that because the condominium maintains it. So our proposal is this. So now I'm going to explain why we have the leg. Okay? Anna, can you go to the conventional plan, please?
Yep.
So the question always is how do you know how much density you can do? Like, how do you know how many units you can put there? What, do we just figure it out? No. This is the one time you're flexible almost was right, but not quite. So the flexible development says, prepare a conventional plan and let us know how many lots you can have. What it ought to have said is, prepare a conventional plan, let us know how many units, because the issue is density, not lots. It's how many homes can you have. So that's one of the things I'm gonna talk to you about in a minute. But what we did, okay, I didn't do anything, Chris. What Chris Baragis did was actually develop a conventional subdivision plan. And what is required under your bylaw is not to do a true conventional plan. You can only imagine how complicated that would be, but to do a conventional plan on a high level. You don't design the stormwater management, because you do that when you have the other homes. You just evidence the fact that you can put the roadway in without waivers. So in Middleton, you have to have, what is it, 800 feet, Chris? What, I can't remember. Yeah, what is it? 500 is, okay. So the 500 foot is the maximum length of a roadway that is a dead end, which is why we have the roadway coming out. And that's why we had that tail, because we couldn't have a 500 foot road. We needed to have one that actually had an entrance and an exit to be able to comply with your subdivision rules and regulations. We were able to actually create little spur roads. For what purpose? To get more lots. So that's what this does. So the conventional subdivision plan actually shows 22 lots. However, as you can see, lot 22, 21, there's a few of them, 11, where is it, 16, and 18, all with 2 units. So what we were able to accomplish is how many? 27. We're able to actually get 27 units in a conventional plan. And now, I just want to point out one thing, because somebody had asked a question about the Zone A. So Zone A, because of the Emerson Brook here, and that's a tributary, comes in, comes out. There's like, in here is the area that isn't Zone A, everything else is. Zone A, though, not floodplain, but Zone A, which is a tributary to a reservoir, water that contributes to the reservoir, right, Chris? Yeah. Surface water supply. That has a setback, but it does not restrict like the floodplain does. So here, we can put homes inside the Zone A. That's not an issue. You just can't put a septic system in the Zone A. And where we located it on that other plan, we don't. And with regard to this, we would maintain this also as a condominium, and we'd also have a common septic system. In certain instances, in other instances, we would actually have a septic system, like we probably would have one for certain of them, and others would all be on a shared system, which we're allowed to do under the Board of Health regulations, as long as it's a condominium. So this is our conventional plan. We're here for a few reasons. One, the bylaw is very, very difficult to navigate because it doesn't have a lot of information. We wanted you to have some input in. So Scott Fitzpatrick, right, is the zoning enforcement officer. He's literally the policeman for the zoning bylaws. He tells us, come, go, stop, right? He interprets the stuff for us. But I wanted to come before this board because this is going to be the first time you're going to hear a flexible development. So there's a couple of questions we need answered. One, when we count our base units, are you going to be receptive to the fact we're not using lots, we need to use unit count? So 27 units, we're looking at not 22 lots, because that's our actual density. And when I think the flexible development bylaw was written, I'll be honest with you, I think it was done so in maybe a very naive way, and not with a lot of exposure experience. That bylaw, I think, is from 2008. So that's when it actually first got put in. I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's right. So we need to discuss that, our determination of base. And then we also wanted to be able to have a discussion relative to the density bonuses. So as we told you, we need to give you 15%. So if we have a density of 27, we know what the amount of affordable are. We're going to have to do 15% affordable. We would really like to get a density bonus. We think we can, because in order to do this, we give up a lot. So if we just have 27 units and we have to give 15% as affordable, and we give away all the open space, there usually is some consideration for a town. Because the open space, you're only required to give 40%, and we're giving somewhere around 78% of this land is going to be given back. So under the bylaw, you're allowed to get a bonus for every 10% above, I believe. So we would be entitled under the bylaw to additional 3 units because we have 3 10% extras. For why, I don't know how else to say that, but that would be the case. Which would bring us then to a density of 30 units. And by the way, when we look at the density of 30, that's when we do our determination of 15%. So that clearly then gives us 4.2 units, right? Am I doing the math wrong? 4 point what? 4.5, yeah, I'm doing the wrong way, it's 30. 4.5 units. When you hit 5, you either have to give a cash contribution, but because it's supposed to be a little bit over 5 to trigger the additional unit. So it's either, it's probably gonna be 5 units of affordable housing. All the units that you give in density are restricted. So the bylaw in this way is very good because you get a density bonus and that way the town ensures a certain level of housing. So now you're saying when you do the density, those houses can only have 2 bedrooms. So you're kind of automatically creating, I don't want to say affordable because that's not the right term because we already have affordables, but you're smaller units, maybe first-time home buyer type of units. And that can be in the form of, you know, one of the multis or one of the duplexes, because you certainly would not make a home a 2-bedroom home in this instance. You'd have to have them be a connected building. Can you think of anything else in the bylaw? Pretty much hit.
Yeah, the units, the big one. Show them
Can we go back to the flex plan?
While you're going back, I do want to, it does touch on the units versus the lots. On 737 in the flexible development bylaw, it says that the maximum number of dwelling units, the basic maximum number of dwelling units allowed in a flexible development shall not exceed the number of lots,
Yep. And that's
which
where,
could reasonably be expected to be developed under the site conventional plan. So I can see where there's some ambiguity, that they're saying the number of units can't equal the number of lots, but if the lots are suitable for a 2-family dwelling, it's technically 2 units.
exactly. So that's why, given that ambiguity, we have had a conversation with Mr. Fitzpatrick, but I also wanted to have the conversation with you. He has not issued an opinion, right? Anna and I have had the conversation via email more about this particular issue. And I thought, okay, let's at least bring it to the board, have an open discussion, because, you know, you literally are the elected board that is going to control this particular provision. Yes, Scott does have a tremendous amount of input, but, so that was the whole point, is see how it goes. It says, okay, you look at lots, but then you determine units.
Yeah.
And that's the other interesting factor. Usually in an open space residential subdivision, which is what the flex plan is, it will say that the applicant has the option of doing a definitive subdivision plan or a site plan. There's nothing in here. It does say something about definitive plan, but that definitive plan is what calculates yield. It doesn't say how we're supposed to develop. We are going to do it as a site plan. Unless this board has an issue, we think it's a far better way to work than to try and do a subdivision plan that is never going to be a street, ever.
Especially where it's all one group together, I think a site plan is more reasonable than, probably the way to go.
Especially with it's going to be all shared, you know, it's going to be all shared utilities. I mean, I think even in this event, the post offices now are having I don't know if anybody's experienced this yet, but the post office is really pushing back on having individual mailboxes. They are making subdivisions now. I've had it happen in 2 different subdivisions, local, very close to us, where they make you put up a kiosk for deliveries. They don't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's going to happen here. I don't know how we'd handle it. I don't know maybe if we'd even do it for, you know, the Amazon, the UPS, the 700 delivery services now that exist. So that's something we have to kind of consider as well. I don't know. Have you had any pushback in Middleton yet on that?
Oh, at Rowell Lane, for example, there's a little mail house.
Yeah, see, they are pushing back. I didn't remember. But that's going to be something too. So there's going to be a lot of common services, if you will. This particular project doesn't have any kind of a common building, although they would have the ability to do it. And even under the flexible requirements, you have open space. For example, all your utilities can be in the open space. If you notice, can you go to the flex plan?
Yeah.
If you notice under the flex plan, the soil absorption system is actually in the open space because it's below ground. So all your utilities below ground can be in the open space, all of it. So that's what we show. And obviously, the point of that is to create even more open space and protect it. When we do the open space, by the way, we subject it to a conservation restriction that's approved by the Executive Office of Energy and, Energy and
You can just say EOEEA.
yeah, EOEA affairs. Oh my gosh! But I have to tell you, I submitted a CR for them for Groton 2 years ago, and I just got comments back. So it's a painful process, but it protects the open space in perpetuity. The only way to actually go back and use the open space is go before the legislature and have them take action for you under the plan. So basically, it's always going to be open space. Nobody's ever going to be able to touch it, and there's very distinct provisions in that, in the CRs. They basically say, it's all passive, no motorized vehicles, you can't drive dirt bikes, you can't drive ski mobiles, it has to be passive, non-motorized vehicles. And you can allow hunting, but I don't think you can do that here because you're too close to homes. The conservation restrictions are really actually a great thing through the EOA, but that will be part of what we do here, because we can't protect open space in perpetuity. Even if we were to give it to the Conservation Commission and not use that, it's not in perpetuity. It would be subject to that 30-year claim, and that isn't good for the town.
So has the fire department looked at that with line of sight on the driveway?
Sure. So we haven't gone there yet, Jason.
Haven't gone there yet?
No,
I just don't-
we
I just didn't know if anybody had talked to them about that, because we ran into that last year with a development.
What we did do, so before we even came here, we went to the DRG, we met with the police department, fire department, electric, everybody, we go to that meeting. And Chief Lacoste really didn't have any comments about it. I mean, obviously, he always says you're gonna have to have hydrants every so many feet, that type of thing, and then we have to demonstrate that all of these turning points are sufficient for his truck to turn. And I think Chris has that turning radius.
I think it's 16, what's it, 16 feet? Something like
So
that?
this is looks small, but this is 80 scale, and what you see there for the width of the road and the cul-de-sac is just like any other road in town.
Yeah.
So plenty of room for the fire truck to go in
It does look
and
small,
turn
doesn't it?
around, but it looks small at the scale.
Yeah, because it's 29 acres almost. But so we do have to demonstrate that, and that was one of the questions he asked. And then Tracy Mello, the Board of Health agent, was there, and she heard we're gonna do the shared system, which is a good system. It's much better. Kristen was there, Kristen Kent, the conservation agent. Obviously, we said, look, do you like, and we said to them, do you like the conventional plan, or do you like the flexible plan? I mean, no one on one of those boards is gonna say, we like the conventional plan, especially Kristen, because this is wetland, and we would have to cross it. But by the way, crossing wetland, as you all know, if I want to get to the other side in order to make a lot, I can do it, because we don't have a local bylaw, we don't have a local bylaw prohibiting me from doing that, so I can cross a wetland. And there it is, because it gives me access to property. So this is a question I think one of you would ask. So why are you leaving this property open? Because it is really a nice parcel of land, so we're developing it. I mean, we're gonna be honest with you, that's why. It's a beautiful house lot. And there would be no way to incorporate it into the yield plan, into the flexible development. It's just too far away. We purposely made both sides of the driveway open space, because we figured, you know what, this is a way to really protect it, make it more beautiful at the beginning, and that was the point of having it come down. The requirement is that all your open space be contiguous, so it has to touch, which all of ours does. One of the other things that's nice is this particular property, I think Chris and Peter have told me that it's open, a lot of people bike through here. So there are proposed trails. So you can see this is actually a proposed trail that would go around the entire development. It does try it. There are a lot of trails out there currently that people use to bike, hike, and probably even cross-country ski and snowshoe. Trying to think what else. I mean, that's for a flexible development, that's kind of it. Our big issues were site plan, definitive, unit count, density. I'm not asking, by the way, for you to say, yes, we're gonna give you, the bonus units based on, your open space. I mean, I think we have to come through a full hearing, but I am asking you for an interpretation in how I should proceed relative to the use of units versus lots to count for
22
base.
versus the 27.
Pardon?
The 22 versus the 27.
Exactly. That and site plan versus definitive, those are the two issues I'm actually asking about, because when I file, I need to file with those, using those two concepts that I just don't have right now.
I did have a couple comments for the board from both the building commissioner and the conservation agent on the yield plan.
Yep.
So it is right now the opinion of Scott and myself that unfortunately the way the bylaw is written, that it would be counting lots rather than units. So that the 2 unit lots that are acceptable lots on the yield plan would only translate to 1 unit in the flexible development plan. I do agree that it is not written great, and this is something that I'd love to update in the future in our bylaw, but as written right now, that is my read of it, and I did confirm that with the building commissioner. The other, well, I wanted to see if the board had other comments on that before I had another comment from town departments.
I think based on 737, that's my indication too, where it says the basic number of dwelling units,
Oh, it definitely says it.
yeah, cannot exceed the number of lots, which could be reasonably be expected. So in my opinion, the bylaw does specifically tie it to the lot number, the number of lots, not necessarily the number of units that could be built on the lots.
It does. I think it was a mistake, to be honest. There's, because of the reference to given every other bylaw,
Yep.
it's probably a mistake. But, that's why I'm here, to find out what the opinion is, to be quite frank.
I agree with that, and maybe there's an opportunity to look at the density bonus to kind of make up for that ambiguity on the.
There absolutely is. We did this, we probably can rejigger the conventional, quite frankly, to get more lots versus the duplex lots, and we can continue to try that, because what we would just do.
Separated roads, just
Yeah, we would
another-
just separate, we can. This was, 1 road, the 2 spurs, okay, let's see what everybody thinks. If the interpretation is, it has to be lots for units, then, we would honestly, we'd go back and massage the conventional plan, and then probably seek heightened relief under the density, because as I said, you need to make up the money, because you're going to be, just so everybody knows, I don't know if everybody's ever done an affordable unit. Those are not a loss leader, they are a loss. So you can't build them for any kind of money. You cannot make money on them. Not because the community says you can't, because construction costs are so high, it's impossible. That you could, the hope is you net even. And if you can't net even, which I don't think you can now based on the cost of the road, cost of the actual construction, then the hope is that you can get a couple of extra units more to offset that. And that's why they do the density as well. What else? So go ahead, Ann, I apologize.
The other question that came up, I reviewed this with the conservation agent, and the other question that came up is a few of these lots, particularly 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are within the Riverfront buffer. And so those do have a minimum requirement, I believe of 10%. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, that's why I'm looking at you, Anthony.
I can explain if you'd like.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify about those, that those would actually be buildable lots
Right,
based
so-
on their
so,
location.
Yep, so I think there's language, first of all, in the zoning bylaw that describes what level that a concept plan, a yield plan like this needs to go to. I think it's reasonably expected.
Yeah.
But to answer your question about riverfront area, what you would do is calculate what your total riverfront area is on your property, and the Wetlands Protection Act allows you to disturb up to 10% of that land.
So there would be a way to potentially put a house on those that would only disturb 10%?
So it's not 10% of each lot, it's 10% of the total area. So if the riverfront area, this is the line, right, Chris?
Yeah, so everything below that.
So all of this.
10% of the total area.
Total area, and you absolutely can do that. So they would end up, yeah,
It's not like wetland that would need to be filled. There's only one little section there that I could walk over the screen there. That
so despite the
requires
fact like that the
across-
road shows that big breadth, it's still a smaller roadway too. So you have to remember that that would be counted towards it, but the other homes, the footprints would end up making smaller anyway.
There's a stream that comes through here like this, and wraps around and heads to the reservoir. And so in between these lines is wet. So here's the wetland crossing.
Yep.
And the rest of it is in the buffer zone. But, this section is in the riverfront area, and so the amount of land that you can disturb is limited. But, Jill and I have done a lot of OSRD plans and cluster plans like this, and there's not usually a lot of scrutiny on like, design detail on a yield plan. It's really just putting the lines on the drawing, and how many, if you were to draw a subdivision on this, that's why the word reasonable, I think, is in our bylaw as well, just to kind of show what could you do on a piece of paper, on a piece of land like this.
And we do believe, though, so all of that, right, reasonable, okay, look, we can do 10% of the riverfront. The riverfront area here is probably about 60,000. Can you, it's probably even more, actually. Can you really just limit it to 10%? Yes, we can. And that's like a reasonable, because what do? Okay, you put a 1,200 square foot footprint, you have a driveway up close, and then you have your roads. You really can, for reasonable standards, do it.
Thank you for
Do you
that.
not have to consider septic design on the yield plan?
No, and the reason you don't is because we can, no matter what, we can do a single septic system. So I can literally take a single septic system and put it right here where it was before, because I'm gonna do it as a condo, and we know we've gone out and we've perked. So we didn't witness perk, but we did. Oh, we did witness perk?
Yeah,
Oh,
the Board of Health.
there we go, we witnessed perk. So we have the ability to put a large enough system to handle it, and then certain other lots potentially may have their own septic systems to be able to get, just to pass the smell test of, okay, we have enough capacity to service all of these lots, because that's what it is. So when you do these conventional plans, you don't do that high dive, which is what Chris is trying to explain. You do a very general dive, and one of the reasons is because of the cost to do too much. And yeah, usually conventional plans are done, and flex plans are done on land, but it's very difficult to do the conventional plan. I'm not going to tell you that's not true. It is, it's more difficult, but at the same time, it's absolutely possible, but it absolutely impacts the natural environment to a great degree versus all the benefits you get from the yield. I apologize for the flex. That was kind of the point of the practicality component. But yeah, we can, and we did have some conversation, I think a little bit, during the DRG with Kristen. Did she have more stuff?
No, and I think that clarification would satisfy Kristen's concerns.
That it's 10% of the total area versus 10% of
Yeah.
individual lots.
And I also want to reiterate that what you just said of the whole reason to do a flexible development is, of course, because the land is not really well set up for a conventional plan. So I think I do think it's great to be able to use this and explore the options on this parcel.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, we could get more nitpicky the way the bylaw reads too. It does say that the proponent shall have the burden of proof with regard to design and engineering specifications for such a conventional plan. So theoretically, we could require more detail, but like you had mentioned, that could all be offset by creating another spur that goes up where the two-family units are with that larger lot to say, okay, now instead of the 2 or 3 lots, we've got 5 or 6. So
It's just
we're splitting
we
hairs to
literally-
do that.
Right, because we literally created this plan. Originally, we just had one thing coming in, and we had, two families everywhere. They're like, you know what, now let's do the two spurs, let's see. But yeah, we could probably get another spur. There's a whole bunch of ways to do the design. This is kind of our first go. This isn't necessarily what you're gonna see, but we wanted you to see what the big comparison difference was between, land destruction and land preservation. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but,
Yeah.
Urban sprawl is a real thing.
I just had one other clarification question. So with the Zone A, and this is, I think, more of a question for Anna and for the town rather than for the proponent. I'm not seeing anything within the flexible development bylaw that waives the provisions of the watershed protection overlay district, which is pretty clear as far as lot size requirements. It's actually pretty similar to the Riverfront requirements with the 10%. But it's of each individual lot rather than of the total, and then also establishes a minimum of 40K. So we definitely want some clarification on that, on whether, similar to how you can't waive conservation requirements under a lot of this stuff.
So if you look at the section 3.7.3.6, modification of lot requirements,
Yeah, I assume that those lot requirements would be associated with the dimensions and use associated with the zoning bylaw, not
All
necessarily linked to the
all
watershed
applicable.
protection.
So it would be the zoning.
Yeah, so the watershed protection links back to associated state law, though. So we'd
So
want
you're-
clarification on that.
So you're thinking, that's a different one. So we have our own, in here, we have the groundwater protection
Yeah, and
district.
then we also have the
And then we
watershed
have the
protection.
watershed. The watershed's totally different. So the state level, the one that you're thinking about where it says, you can, what is, the state one where you can't have sewage, all that other thing, but that doesn't limit it. It says you can do almost anything as long as you comply with stormwater management. Chris will address that. So the state level is quite different than our watershed protection one. So,
Yeah, so in the town's bylaw, the watershed protection overlay district controls how much hardscape can be constructed on a piece of property. I believe it reads that building footprints cannot exceed 10% of the lot area, and at least 75% of the land needs to be open and not preclude the growth of vegetation. That's our local watershed protection overlay district, which doesn't coincide with the Zone A that the state has that protects tributaries and reservoirs like the Emerson Brook Reservoir. They're different. They cover different things, and they are different types of protections. Ours is just the zoning overlay district.
So those provisions, we actually comply with them, by the way, but the basic, dimensional requirements, you default to the underlying district, which then you waive. So our local, you waive. The state protections, we cannot waive. I mean, that's, what it is what it is. But we will comply with all of the state regulations, and in fact, the conventional plan can achieve compliance. It's just, it's a lift, that's all. It just requires a lot of design detail.
Could you just point me again to where it says we can waive? I was under the impression that we would, that the ultimate plan, the flex development plan, would have to comply with the watershed protection overlay district.
I don't believe so. So 7.3, here we go, 7.3.6. So modification of lot requirements covers flexible to modify safe dimensional quality limitations.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. I mean, and the reason for that is because obviously, right, under the flexible development plan, we're gonna give you 78% open space. We're actually going to have far less than what those underlying requirements are for that particular zoning district even. So, the 10% of a building, so if you could do 10%, I don't think we would have buildings to do that. Because by the way, the 75% isn't just, open. I think you can still have, 25%, up to 25% can be buildings and pavement. Mm-hmm. So we don't have 25% of this property in building and pavements. We just don't. Because even though this area may be 22%, you can see that there's open space everywhere. So, you know, to your point, Mr. Craig, we actually meet those coverage requirements. We meet them anyway. Even if we didn't have to, we do meet them anyway. We already
Just
kind
by the
of,
nature of the project that we're proposing.
it actually is greater under the flexible plan than the GPOD does.
What are everyone's thoughts about a traditional site plan being the proper mode for filing an application?
This one's definitely a confusing one, huh? It's not straightforward. I mean, so at the end of the day, we have to establish what the base density is, right?
Yes, but we just kind of had that discussion. So it appears that the building commissioner, whose decision I would have to appeal, has said that it's lots for units.
Right.
So quite frankly, you don't have the ability to overturn him. So I didn't realize Mr. Fitzpatrick had rendered this. I hadn't talked to him prior to this meeting. He thought he was going to be here tonight. I just didn't do it. So if that's the case, that's what the base density is. But now knowing that, we'll probably go back and massage that plan to get more singles. We just didn't because we didn't know that we had to. So what you're thinking too, Mr. LaBelle, I think, is maybe the bonus. So we are going to be looking for bonus to be able to get our numbers up to be able to cover those affordable units.
I mean, there's definitely confusion on
What's that?
lots versus units, though, so.
I mean, like most communities,
One,
it's
two,
units
plus,
to
I think
units,
it's
like
six.
Rowley's zoning bylaw, North Andover, it's units to units, because the key is density of housing, not density of lots. A lot doesn't mean a thing.
Based on the number of units versus lots, but if we're not seeing 27.
I guess my question for you all is, do you have enough information from us tonight to be able to prepare the application that you're looking for, or are there more specific questions that you're looking for input from the board on?
Really deriving this application will be definitive or submitting to you a site plan. Because the site plan wouldn't go, this does not go to the Board of Appeals. This isn't flexible development. It's not a Board of Appeals permit. You grant a special permit under the flexible development bylaw. It's completely silent as to how I proceed. I couldn't find anything. So, like when I look at the design, it says, oh, you can do 1, 2s, 3s. But it doesn't say you have to do definitive, or you have to do site plan. Like in North Reading, it literally tells you site plan, definitive. You know, you as the applicant are allowed to choose. So, I mean, you don't have any. I don't know what to choose.
It does make sense from my perspective to move forward with a site plan.
Yeah,
I
I think
just
we,
need direction from you.
the other thing
Yeah.
too, is I think we need to do more research on this, what they want to do here. You know, we're not been privy to it. You know, I think we need to do some more research on our end about it. And then, yeah, I think site plan would be the next way to go.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify too, if this wasn't clear, that this is a fully preliminary. This is not an official application to the board. This is
Right.
just a
It's like a
conversation.
recommendation.
Just a
Yeah.
person,
An understanding of the way the
Yeah.
bylaw reads.
Yep.
And
Yep. So
Clarity.
we certainly will have more information, and we'll be able to make much more detailed decisions with a full site plan.
Very good. So Jill, do we expect this to come before us next month? Or,
Well, it would depend if you tell me definitive or site plan, because there's a big difference between the two.
I agree with Anna, I think site plan
Site
is
plan
probably
would
the way to
be-
go.
I think
Said
site
it'd
plan would
be
be
in
the
2
way to go.
weeks. No. Yeah, the filing deadline's the 14th, so we can't make it. And let's see. So I probably would guess I mean, it's all dependent on literally, if you can't tell us tonight, site plan or definitive, and you prefer to have a, I mean, by the way, it doesn't require public, I don't know, that require, no, just like if you can say, Anna, have a conversation with somebody and let them know. Because we won't start to do our docs till we know, because we don't want to go down one vein and have to do another.
So can we confirm tonight just whether we want to do a site plan or not?
I think a site plan would be fine. if-
Yeah,
if
I
everyone
think we
else
should
is
do
in
it,
agreement.
yeah. I think we should do a site plan.
Okay,
Aye.
okay. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
All right, perfect. I mean, honestly, it's just you're interpreting. I don't need a vote from
Yep.
you.
Yeah, there is no
Like,
direction
if
according to the
Anna were to
bylaw, like
say,
you said.
you know, something different, you know, Anna just, you know, your planner just said to you, I think site plan, and then you all agreed, okay, so we're going to proceed with site plan, and my guess is we'll submit this year. And I don't mean to push it out, it's just that, you know, this is still a lot of work, so we have to go back through our conventional plan, we just have to get our ducks in a row.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's fair to say?
It is, yeah, 30 units, you know, we have to kind of design everything, stormwater, septic, make sure everything works right before we can submit it to you.
Very good.
There you go. Thank you for your time, wasn't that fun?
Absolutely.
Informative.
First one.
We had some education.
Listen, I love it. You'd seen it at the zoning bylaw committee.
Good timing, too, so we can get it to VHB for
Oh, I've,
tightening that up on the,
oh my God, we went to that meeting, that was hysterical.
Yeah.
I think we probably opened their eyes more than they wanted them open.
We
didn't we?
have quite a few comments on this section, and I am hoping to make some changes. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, so let's, like, originally, and it said, I should call you Ms. Conlon, but it said, you know, maybe you want to wait until we get this out of, you know, if we can amend or not. And, you know, the Richardson said, you know, look, let's go forward, we have the land, we'd like to develop it. And then if come May meeting, there's a big change and we're allowed to do something different, then we come back to you to modify. But I'll be honest with you, I don't see your agent or your consultant being able to do a wholesale rewrite by May. I personally don't see it.
no, it wouldn't pass town meeting before then anyway, so.
Yeah, so for us, I think we're gonna proceed.
Very good,
For us, like it's my project. For the Richardsons, I think they're going to proceed.
very good. Thank you.
Is it okay to bother you for a few more signatures?
Sure.
This is the Forest Street plan.
Only if you have that special.
We have a couple more things on our list.
You guys need to let Anna go.
Not too much.
No. They're just signing me. Boston. Thank you. Oh my, this morning, it was so bad, the rain was so violent. I went through the Leverett Circle. This little teeny red car hit a puddle. It ripped its bumper off its car. Flew in the air, almost hit my car. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah. People are nuts. He hit this puddle.
Yep.
Big loss.
I bet you he hit it
Did you see what
at
happened?
going 30 miles an hour.
Toward the truck that got blown by the
Need I say that I slowed right down?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah, see you.
Thank you.
Ian, I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everybody. Oh, you want me to? Yeah, because I need you to scan it so we can get it. We'll have all of those scanned.
That's great. Thank you.
You're probably not going to record it.
I literally, sorry guys, gotta go.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was closed when I was walking.
They shut that gate stuff. One way in and one way out. They were only letting people come in.
All right, take care, everybody. Thank
Yeah, we'll see you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Enjoy Halloween.
You too.
Oh, I will.
Next on the agenda, we have Ridgewood Estates Planning Board authorization for April 9th, 2025, endorsement of the definitive subdivision plans.
Yes, so you all may, a few of you may remember back in April, we recertified definitive subdivision plans. The reason for doing that was in order for the last two phases of the Ridgewood Estates subdivision to be recorded with the Registry of Deeds. It had been longer, there's a 6-month window, and it had been longer than that, and so after that window, the planning board is required to recertify that nothing about the plan has been changed. They're looking to record it now, and they're just looking for print authorization to go along with that plan. So the plan, I uploaded a copy, I believe, to the Google Drive that you all had signed, and then I will just send around the authorization for the folks who, actually, if everyone I believe if everyone could sign it tonight, since you all are here, that would be great, including Cheryl, because you signed the original plan. Then I will just send this around for you all.
Would I sign it even though I abstained from the action?
I would ask that you do sign it, even though, but I have it listed on here the way that everyone voted.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Too bad we didn't have this
I need a
smudge-proof
black
pen.
pen.
I have blue.
And Anthony, I do want to note, we
Black.
do have a ZBA recommendation also.
Oh, we're just signing, not a plan, oh, okay.
Oh,
I
I
just
went out of
sign
order.
it red.
Okay. While we're signing, we do have a ZBA recommendation for 50 Log Bridge Road. The applicant is requesting a special permit and site plan approval for a change of use in the commercial district.
So you all saw, excuse me, two units at this address came, I think, to us last month to review the site plan. One was for a change of use, one was for outdoor storage. This is the final unit, the final tenant in that building, also requesting a change of use. There is not too many significant changes to the use. It's still going to be warehousing for construction and building materials. The one thing that they are adding is there is an accessory retail component, so they are requesting that
Do a
the
storefront?
space, would be able to be, you could come and walk in and buy things. That's not going to be a primary use. They're expecting very few folks to actually use that, but they do want to offer it as a potential. And then, I didn't note this, I think in the description, but on the plan, there is also, they're looking for an authorization of outdoor storage in the rear. Behind the building, there's a sort of a long strip of space along the back fence that has historically been used for outdoor storage, and they are looking to continue that.
And just a quick clarification on the signatures, because I am uninvolved, I shouldn't sign this, correct?
Yeah, no need to sign, thanks.
Looks like there's 19 existing parking spaces.
More than that. Maybe not. There's some on the right.
Let's see. So to confirm the, for the special permit, the areas that we're assessing to evaluate whether or not the criteria are acceptable is how it meets the community needs, whether it addresses traffic and pedestrian flow and safety, including parking and loading, how the utilities and other public services are adequate for the proposal, does it fit with the existing neighborhood character, any potential impacts on the natural environment resulting from the project proposal, and what are the potential economic and fiscal impacts, including impacts on town services, tax base, and employment of the proposal. And they're just selling business supplies essentially, right?
Correct.
Building supplies. I do see that it went out to all the abutters. Did we get any feedback from any of the abutters?
I don't think there was any feedback the last time, right?
No.
No.
Given that there's a retail component, is there a requirement that any of the spaces be designated as handicap and accessible as a result?
I need to verify that, but I will note that down.
The type of businesses, one was power washing, right? Was
Yes.
that one of them? And then what was the other one?
The other is manufacturer of medical
Okay.
Yeah,
testing.
where the other ones didn't have any
locations.
retail use, I wouldn't expect it to be required, but
Yeah,
because there is retail.
I think with the power washing business, it was more something where the owner would just bring back equipment to the shop and not so much where
Yeah.
people are going to be stopping by, like
Yeah, he'd have a couple
retail
trailers,
business.
he'd have a couple
Exactly.
trailers out front is
Yeah.
what it was last time, so.
And then the storage component was behind the building, I believe.
Behind the building,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Yeah, there's already storage out there.
Yep.
I did all the plumbing in that building, so.
there you go.
Any other comments or feedback? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for a positive or negative recommendation to the ZBA with any conditions, which may include that clarification on handicap parking for the special permit and site plan approval. And again, this is just a positive or recommendation to the ZBA.
I'll make a motion for a positive recommendation to ZBA with the contingency of, if it's going to be a storefront, that they have adequate handicap accessible parking.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Yep, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Zoning bylaw review project. So we had our public forum September 30th. And there were quite a few topics that we hit on, and I took a ton of notes. I wanted to get some of the board's opinions so that we could get our initial feedback back to VHB. Pull up my notes. There was probably 18 or so, if I had to guess, different recommendations that they had and on different findings. Overall, they had determined that of the 10 sections within the bylaw, that kind of the framework and everything there seemed fine. That the zoning map is going to stay the same. We're not looking to modify any districts. We're not looking to change locations. And for the most part, not looking to change any type of land uses. One of the big parts that we looked at was parking. They indicated that we require about 25 to 30% more parking than many of our neighboring communities for office spaces. And that most of the time, I think right now we have it based on square footage. The number of parking spaces are determined based on square footage. What they're suggesting is that what other towns do is they say it's based on the number of occupants. I'm sorry, no, for offices it is square footage. They're saying that we reduce it down to one space per every 200 square feet. Is it one for every 100 right now?
It's one for every 300 right now.
Okay. And they wanted to
They
move
were
it to one to
looking-
every 200 was their recommendation.
2 or 250, I'm not sure, actually.
And similar to what I think we would like to see, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but we're going to talk about restaurants next, but I'd like to see some uses. What are some common offices that we see people use now? Give us examples on whether that parking that they deem us to be over-requiring. What's the usage now? What's during peak hours? Is there, in fact, open spaces that are sitting open all day long, or, looking at specific examples and specific real-life offices that we have here in town, similar to restaurants. Right now, we have it so that similarly, restaurants where basing the parking on square footage, They said most other towns are doing 1 space per 4 seats. And we have 1 space per every 250 square feet.
Yeah, it should be by occupancy.
Should be by occupancy, and then we also want to take a look at, there's obviously different types of restaurants too, so how does that impact the 99, which is mostly a sit-down restaurant, versus McDonald's, where you get more drive-through?
Right.
How does that impact the lot, where they could simply just add or remove tables and, so similarly to that, I think we would like VHB to kind of give us a little bit more detail on what some of those restaurants look like. Even the Villa, I think would be another good one to study to see if that's overparked or underparked.
Yeah, especially where they share the parking lot with Dunkin' Donuts. So.
Exactly, yeah, the 99 could share the parking lot with Chase Bank.
Chase
and
Bank.
So there are shared parking opportunities, which I have down there as well, that they said we could explore that.
Well, it's like tonight, Maggie's Farm is open, and obviously Jill Mann's building is closed right now because it's, off hours. So, that expands their parking privilege too, so.
Yep. From a landscape and design, right now we have no dimensional parking requirements for parking spaces, so spaces can be as large as they want, as small as they want. They had a recommendation of 15% for compact cars or EV-ready spaces. I think it was Rich Benevento brought up a good point that you can zone it for however you want, but is it enforceable? Are we actually going to have people ticketing, towing for trucks that are parked in an EV or a compact spot? Probably not. So why are we going to overcomplicate things with, a specific percentage of compact cars if it's not enforceable?
Right.
And then if you don't have many compact cars that are parking there, and then it's taken away from other people who want to park, right?
Exactly, and the 15% is kind of a statewide thing, and when you look at, let's say, Somerville, you might have 15, 20, 30% compact cars or EVs. I don't think you necessarily see that in Middleton, where kind of a different town than what you see there. I think here you tend to see more larger SUVs, more trucks. Not to say that won't change, but at least I think that we should probably see something in there from dimensional requirements as far as width of parking spaces, length of parking spaces, things like that.
They have included dimensional requirements.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
And with that suggestion, if the parking requirements themselves are adjusted, it becomes less important to, if you had space for 2 normal spots, you might have spot for 3 compact, but if the total parking requirements themselves are being reduced, then it's less important to squeeze in that extra spot by splitting into a
I don't
compact
know.
spot.
I don't know if anybody's, not to interrupt, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Century House and tried to park in that parking lot. Their parking spots are tight. I mean, very tight. You could barely fit that. You could barely fit that TV in one of their parking spots. Trying to get in there, and then when you got, so there's got to be a requirement for width.
Some of the dimensional requirements that we looked at, that they're going to make some recommendations on the setback requirements from lot lines instead of the street center line. So right now we have setbacks based on our lot lines, whereas most other towns, right now we have it from, is it street center line in some cases?
It includes both.
A little bit of both,
The
depending
bylaw
on.
includes, actually, it just blanket says either or.
Yeah,
So that is either the lot line or the street center line, and the dimension is different for either, so that's one
and a
of
lot
the
of times
things
it's
that
different.
has been confusing.
So sometimes it could say either or, whichever is less, right? So we'd like to try and standardize it to go and base everything off of the lot lines themselves rather than the street center lines. One that I thought was interesting for North Main Street, right now there is a 100-foot setback. There are a lot of grandfathered properties on North Main Street that aren't, are closer than that 100-foot setback. But they asked or made a recommendation that we set that setback closer to what we have towards the middle of town, which is a 30-foot setback. So I've asked them to check with North Andover to see what that setback is on the North Andover side of that corridor. I did ask about potentially tapering it. Could we go, where it starts at, where it ends at 30 and now goes to 100? Is there potential to go from like 30 to 60 to 80 to 100? And they just said that would probably create some potential issues with landowners and potential developers. Some jealousy in crossing lot lines where you have lots that, would cross certain mile markers, but that's something that they're going to be coming to us for. Flexible development, obviously we just had that, leaves more open space. We've had none permitted since 2019, but they would like to see it potentially by right with a site plan review, with clarification on density bonuses, 15% affordable, and specific details on the buildable land of just the total land mass. There was one that I did not necessarily agree with putting on, and they said since 2018 we've had 8 special permits for 2-family dwellings, and we've approved all 8 to convert single families to 2 families. They thought that it would be a good idea for us to include 2 families as a by right use. My fear, and not because I think it would overwhelm the town, because obviously 8 since 2018 is not a very big number. My fear is that the wording of that is a little bit scary, and people are going to hear 2-family by right. They're trying to cram this into a large comprehensive review. They're going to overpopulate the town. This is going to become Chelsea or East Boston. And I think that should be a separate topic in and amongst itself and not included in the comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment that we put forward.
Definitely need some guardrails on that.
So, yeah, I think that while I agree that it's probably not as big a deal as it sounds, I think it sounds scary enough that all it takes is one Facebook post to derail the whole comprehensive zoning bylaw review process to say, see, they're trying to make the town more densely populated by putting all 2 families up.
Especially because it's only
Yep.
a year after the ADU
Exactly.
stuff, so
Yep.
put some space between the 2.
So that was one of their suggestions that we take a look at. I just think it would be unfortunate for that to derail the whole process. Right now, there's some ambiguity on what special permits come to the planning board, what goes to the planning board and then the zoning board for final approval. There was a recommendation to streamline everything, and that everything comes to us for a recommendation, and the ZBA is the final permitting authority for most special permits, if not all. And then again, just to reiterate, this is just clarity on our regulations. Normally, towns will do a zoning bylaw review and update every 5 to 10 years. We haven't since 2008. So like I said, any of the heavy lifting, any of the big stuff, I think we would want to leave off. It's mostly the clerical stuff, the organizational stuff, the clarification that we would want to include. That's all I had.
That's it?
That's it. Sorry.
Did they make any recommendations regarding the stormwater management process?
No, I think that would probably be a little bit more heavy lifting than,
That we need to.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's likely to change relatively soon based on the states putting out a new stormwater handbook and a bunch of other stuff that kind of changes the rules a bit, so.
So I just want to clarify, we have a stormwater bylaw that's actually separate from our zoning bylaw in the code. And so the stormwater is outside of their scope.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are looking right now to review that bylaw as well.
Okay.
Jason, in my absence, you're the chair. Be right back.
Give me the chair. I don't want to do this. Let me get back in here.
What's the VHB timeline again?
They are following up probably in the next few weeks with updates to the audit based on that public meeting. And then over the winter, they will do the full rewrite. I'm expecting the full rewrite to be ready for review in January, probably. So about in January, I would expect to be able to share with the board the full audit report as well as the draft rewrite, like a red line version. January, February, I would say, because we are looking to hopefully begin the public hearings in February for prep for town meeting in May.
All right, planning board 2026 calendar.
Yes, I just wanted
About
to.
where if we have, what are we expecting? Any big projects, anything coming up, or you just have?
I just wanted to let everyone know that I put the calendar in the Google Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's there for everyone to see. The only note on there, we're actually pretty clear for a second Wednesday all the way all year until November, and then November that falls on a holiday, so we'll be on the third Wednesday.
So obviously you're going to be. Are you out the next few months? How long are you going to be out for?
I will be out for the next few months. I expect to be out for the November, December, and January meetings, and
Okay.
back for the February meeting.
All right.
Yeah. We will
There's-
have, yeah, we will have interim staff supporting the board as well as support from the town administrator's office. So you will be hearing from all of those folks. And at this point, I don't have anything yet for the November agenda, so it may be a light meeting. There's still a few days before the deadline.
Okay.
But it may be,
Scary thinking about November already.
You know.
yeah, it could be a light meeting. And of course, if there's nothing pressing, then we won't meet.
Have you had no items that came up unexpectedly in the past 48 hours?
Nope.
Nope. All right, well, chair's back.
Back in time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion accepted. Adjourned.